Look at the bottle of fish oil on your kitchen counter. $30, maybe $40. Burps that taste like a dead ocean. A little sticker promising heart health, sharp memory, and joints that don't creak at dawn. Throw it out. Not because fish oil is fake, because it is the clearance aisle version of something Jesus broke with his own hands every single day of his earthly life. There is a bread baked on hot stones outside Jerusalem for 4,000 years that carries 6 times more usable omega-3 per serving than the soft gel you paid a fortune for. 6 times. And the seed inside it is named by the Lord himself in Isaiah 28 verse 25, where the prophet describes the farmer casting it into the appointed place of the field. The seed is flax. The bread is the shepherd's loaf. And by the time I am done, you will understand why the richest nutrient on your grandmother's table was quietly swapped for a pill that cost you money and gives you nothing. I didn't learn this in a church pew. I learned it in a stone courtyard outside Bethlehem, in a village called Beit Sahur, from a widow named Mariam, who was kneading dough at 5 in the morning while I stood there shivering in October air. My wife Carol had just come off her 3rd statin. Her cardiologist wanted a 4th. Her triglycerides would not move. I had fellow across the ocean chasing a rumor from an old agricultural report, and this small woman with flour up to her elbows looked at me and said in broken English that my wife did not need another pill. She needed the bread the shepherds ate. Then she pressed a warm, round loaf into my hands, still steaming, smelling of roasted seed and wood smoke, and told me to break it like the Lord did. I broke it. I ate it. And 3 weeks later, back in Ohio, Carol's numbers dropped further than any statin had pushed them. But here is what nobody told me in any doctor's office. The bread Mariam baked was not wheat. Not only wheat. The ancient loaves of the Judean hill country were mixed grain, and the ratio mattered more than any modern baker understands. Ezekiel 4, verse 9, lists them by name: wheat, barley, beans, lentils, millet, spelt. 6 ingredients the prophet was commanded to combine into a single loaf, and ground in with that mixture across every archaeological site from Masada to Qumran. Researchers have recovered the charred remains of flaxseed pressed directly into the dough. Flax, the tiny brown seed the Romans called linum. The seed Hebrew farmers sowed in the borders of their wheat fields because the prophet Hosea named it as a covering of the Lord's provision. 1 tablespoon of fresh ground flax carries roughly 2,400 milligrams of alpha-linolenic acid, the plant form of omega-3 your brain and arteries actually crave. A standard fish oil capsule delivers around 300 milligrams. Do the math yourself. 6 loaves of shepherd's bread a week, baked the old way, and a man in his 60s is eating more clean omega-3 in one morning than a month of pharmacy soft gels. Therefore, the question is not whether this works. The question is why you have never heard it. I'll tell you why. Flax does not survive on a grocery shelf. The oil inside the seed goes rancid within weeks of grinding, which means no factory, no warehouse, no national distributor can sell it to you the way the Lord intended it to be eaten. Fresh, cracked the same morning, baked into hot bread before the sun is fully up. The entire industrial food system is built against this seed. It cannot to be processed. It cannot to be shipped. It cannot be monetized at scale. So it was replaced, slowly, across the 20th century with hydrogenated vegetable oils, then with corn, then with the soy that now lines the inside of every loaf of store bread sitting in your pantry right now. And when flax finally made a comeback in the 90s, the pharmaceutical industry had already convinced your doctor that the only omega-3 worth taking came from a fish, pressed into a pill, sold at a markup of 4,000%. Hebrew University agricultural researchers have documented that the heirloom flax, cultivated in the hill country around Hebron, contains nearly twice the omega-3 concentration of the commercial Canadian flax sold in American health food stores. Twice. The same seed. Different soil, different sun, different rainfall. 4,000 years of selection by farmers who were not optimizing for shelf life. They were optimizing for the health of their children. Now, listen, because this is where I know some of you are shaking your heads. You are thinking you cannot fly to Bethlehem. You do not have a stone oven. You cannot grind seed at dawn like Mariam. I hear you. I thought the same thing standing in that courtyard. So let me give you what my friend Yusuf, a baker in the old city, taught me on my second trip, and what I have done in my own kitchen in Ohio every Saturday for the last 4 years. Go to any regular grocery store. Find whole golden flaxseed, not pre-ground. The pre-ground stuff on the shelf has already oxidized. Buy a small bag, bring it home. Take 2 tablespoons and grind them fresh in a coffee grinder you keep only for seeds. Mix the ground flax into a simple dough of whole wheat flour, a pinch of sea salt, warm water, and a little honey. No yeast needed for the ancient style. Flatten it into rounds the size of your palm. Cook it on a dry cast iron skillet, 4 minutes per side, until the edges puff and brown. That is the shepherd's loaf. That is the bread Jesus tore and passed to men who walked 20 miles a day in sandals and lived into their 80s with clear eyes and steady hands. 1 loaf a morning. That is all. Eat it with a little olive oil, a few olives, a piece of white cheese if you have it, and you are eating the exact breakfast the Lord ate on the road to Emmaus. But I promised you a finale, and here it is. The thing no pastor has told you. The thing that took me 3 years of digging to uncover. In the Mishneh Tractate Shabbat, the rabbis preserved a specific instruction about how flax was prepared for the Sabbath loaf. The seed was never added cold. It was lightly toasted first, on a hot stone, for exactly the time it takes to say a short blessing. 30 seconds, no more. That gentle heat breaks open the hull and releases a compound called a lignan, the same compound that modern cancer researchers at institutions across Europe have now identified as one of the most powerful natural hormone regulators ever studied. Toasted flax carries up to 800 times more available lignan than raw flax. 800. The rabbis did not know the word lignan. They knew the practice. They knew that the loaf prepared this way kept their women healthy through childbirth, kept their men strong into old age, and kept the tumors that plagued neighboring Roman cities largely absent from the Jewish villages of Galilee. Luke 24, verse 30, describes the moment the risen Christ took bread, blessed it, broke it. The Greek word for that bread, artos, refers to the exact mixed loaf of the hill country. Toasted seed inside, warm from the stone. You have been eating the wrong breakfast your entire life. Not because you are foolish, because somebody made sure the right breakfast disappeared from the shelf. You are not a customer of the food system. You are a son or daughter of the covenant, and the bread of that covenant has been sitting in your Bible, page after page, waiting for you to read it as the instruction manual it was always meant to be. Here's what I want from you in the comments. Tell me the name of the grandmother or grandfather in your family who used to bake bread at home. Just the name. I read every single one. Every name is a life the Lord remembers. And if you are ready to keep recovering what was taken from us, subscribe right now. Next week, I am opening up the story of the bitter green Jesus ate at the Last Supper, the one your doctor would pay you to eat if he knew what it actually does to blood sugar. You will not want to miss it. Break the bread, bless the Lord, and welcome home.